So to get things started, Jack uses liquid feeling magic to arouse all of Ava's body.
Sorry,
And
can you say that one more
yeah,
time?
I said liquid feeling magic. It feels like liquid, but
So it's invisible lubricant?
hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome to Say Smut, a literary podcast for readers and non-readers.
Thanks so much for popping by today. That is Sarah, and she loves books, I think. Do you still love books?
I think so.
Oh, okay, cool. Just
I
checking.
think I'm
Just
starting
checking.
to like books.
Just checking.
Just checking. That's Hope. She likes talking to me about books. And each episode I break down the plots of some pretty wild books to Hope, who has not read them, but psych.
Joke's on you.
Jokes on everyone listening right now, because every once in a blue moon, we allow Hope to have access to literature, and she actually consumes it, and then she gets to be the one in charge.
Sometimes I dare to use my literacy to read a book for this podcast. And today I have a book that is specifically smutty and spooky for all of us.
Nice.
Yes. But before we get to that, let's talk about business.
Yeah, no, I want to go through some quick announcements, which is that, as I mentioned last week, I have been doing you all a service by reading holiday books in October so that I'll have Rex out. Hope, I want you to know I read the most heart-wrenching holiday book. It's a happily ever after, so it's good in the end. I sent you a photo of myself.
Yes, you did. You were distraught.
No, I was sobbing. I cried 3 times during the book. I'm not a book crier. I don't like, I might get a little, "Ooh, that's emotional," or like I might get like a, "Ooh, a little dusty eye," little misty eye. But no, this was a full-fledged, I'm fucked in the ass, like crying. Yeah.
And not in the fun way, like in
And
our
not in the
books, in the
fun way.
sad
Like,
way.
"Oh, this is too much." No. So, I highly recommend The Christmas You Found Me. It's a brand new release by Sarah Morgenthaler. Um, read the author's note. It'll explain why it's so freaking emotional. She has dealt with a lot of pain herself in the last couple of years, and you can tell. Oh my gosh. And then anyway, check trigger warnings. It's not the most perfect book in the world, but I just highly recommend. And then I am currently reading The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by, ooh, I don't have the name in front of me. Last name is Carter. And it is not smutty. I have been told that they only kiss on page, which, by the way, the last recommendation is closed door romance, which means they definitely there's a lot of sexual tension for sure, but they definitely have sex. It just doesn't happen on the page.
Yeah. Fade to black.
Fade to black for sure. So, but Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, I've got a whole roster of holiday romances. I'm kind of already in the throes of it. Yeah. So I also did Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake, and that was pretty good. I don't know, Ashley Herring Blake, I just like, nothing knocks me out of the park with her. I want to be wooed so heavily. Her spice is very good. This one wasn't as spicy as some of her other ones, but I'm just letting you all know I'm doing the work for you, and we will be coming soon with those books. In the meantime,
yes,
you should pop us a rating or review. I mean, like, maybe wait until the episode is over,
Yeah.
Like, I know you want to like see the goods before you actually like decide.
And you're about to see
You're about to see a lot of goods. Or hear a lot of goods, not see necessarily.
See it with your ears.
Yeah.
The goods.
And the other thing is, follow us on TikTok or Instagram. We love getting messages.
Yes.
We love getting reposted by you. Hope and I almost lost our ever loving shit because somebody said that we were their favorite podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers.
If you're listening still, thank you so much.
Cheers.
That's so kind. That's
yeah,
so
and we
kind of
do
you.
check comments. We do check like comments on YouTube and stuff, because we've gotten some very sweet messages on YouTube and through the email. So we love affirmations.
Yeah, we love words of affirmation.
No, it is my love language. So I am a tell me I'm pretty type of girl. I'll never get enough. What's your love language, Hope?
What's my love language? That's a great question. It's not that I don't abide by them. I feel like I just incorporate a lot of them at once. So
Yeah,
like I
no, I
enjoy
think
words
that's
of
fair.
affirmation and I enjoy, acts of service. I
Mhm.
enjoy a physical touch, like a big old snuggle or a hug now and
Mhm.
again. A variety, but I don't think like one defines my personality.
Yeah. I
I don't
used to
think.
be like, yeah, words of affirmation is my love language. And now I'm like, no, I dabble in all of them.
As
Like,
it turns out, I just like it when people are nice to me and not mean.
yeah, I just really like which we have an ongoing joke that the women I've been interested in are all mean to me.
Well, some people like that, and that's fine.
But no, this isn't in a good way. We all know it. This is therapy with Sarah. I'm on my
Yes.
period. I'm just getting over my
Welcome,
period this
welcome to our
week.
second podcast, Therapy with Sarah.
But at the same time, I also should disclose that because I've been on my period the last week, that was probably an like reason I did cry 3
Yeah.
times plus one more time during the author's note of that Christmas book I just recommended.
Yeah, add that as a disclaimer to all of your reviews.
Yeah. Where was I in my cycle when I read this book? Um, but we have a book today from you. From you, if you wrote the book, I'm not sure.
I
It could be
didn't,
some
but
oh,
could
you
you
didn't. Okay.
imagine?
It would be so exciting for me, myself, and I, because we
I,
say all the time that you write these books.
that's true. I threaten it all the time, but no, I
Yeah.
did not write this. Hey, Hope's
Hey.
dog, I think, tried to eat chicken that she made for dinner off the counter and then was put in jail for
Oh,
that, but is now barking incessantly in the room that's right on top of this one for
of
her
course.
crimes. And for this reason, you may hear her barking.
Barking. Yeah.
You
Okay.
might hear it. I will reveal that the person who did write this books is not unfamiliar to our podcast. So if you were with us this whole time, or like I don't know, for a little bit last year, and maybe you left and came back, I don't know what you do. You may remember that we just had an absolute blasty blast over Halloween, covering such books as "Seduced by the Pumpkin Spice Latte" and "Jack" and "Le Petit Mort" and "Given to the
Hmm.
Ghoul." And I had so much fun when we did that. So I was like, I wonder what would happen if I followed up. So
If you followed up,
if I
wait,
followed
did you do
up,
a sequel?
so I'm gonna ask you all lovingly to sit the fuck down because today I will be sharing the thrills and chills of Jack 2 by Layla Fae.
Is this where I tell you that she's in a little bit of hot water right now?
No,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Well, we want transparency in this
That's fine. No, we could be
podcast.
transparent. Go
If
for it.
if you
Yes,
don't know
disclose.
Layla Fae, I did love Jack. I
Yeah.
love Jack, and this is not like here's my I was actually we were gonna have Liz back on the podcast for a mini ep to talk about this issue, which is the use of AI to promote books.
Ah,
Um,
interesting.
and the whole idea is that if you are using AI to promote your books to make AI art, right? You might say, well, I got to do it because like it's cheap and I can use it to
Sure.
promote my books. The
Hmm.
problem is first of all, AI art does look significantly creepy.
True.
And it also is like if you have the funds, you really should. There are so many wonderful artists who could be making that art for you. So she has been promoting a bunch of her work lately, and it's all been a ton of AI art, and people have kind of called her out for it. And so that's the only hot water that I'm talking about, but it's just been kind of a hot topic lately of like, if like I get that it's economically savvy to use AI, but like
Hmm.
I understand too that there are wonderful artists out there that are willing to work and like, we should pay them for their work and AI shouldn't take over the world. Anyway, so that's that. I just want to address that because I was going to do a follow up on that actually.
Well, great.
But we're going to
I'm
sidestep that.
thrilled to tell you that based on the cover of this one, I'm willing to bet there was not much AI involved,
Oh, really?
or there was very early AI involved.
Oh, God. Okay.
You'll see it when you see it.
I
Anyway,
will.
so I read this as part of a whole greater collection called Jack 2 and Other Stories, a Halloween monster erotica book set. So the ratings are a little weird because it's not just Jack 2, it's actually the first one and several other stories and the second one all wrapped up into one book. But it did get a 3.89 on Goodreads.
Okay. That's pretty
And
good.
yes, and we are familiar with Layla Fae. You may recall that she writes monster romance books. She likes things that are fluffy or dark, and she has all kinds of trigger warnings. The trigger warnings for this book include sort of kidnapping, but sort of not. Very detailed sex scenes. These are super open door. The last book was also super open door. Um, so you won't be surprised. There will be rough intercourse. There will be anal. There will be very, very, very brief choking, some dobs, some interactions, and some flavorful monster jizz. Which, if you were with us the first time, I don't think
Mm.
will survive. Will surprise you.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Yes.
I have to imagine because I believe Jack 2 is his son.
Yes. We're going to get into it. And honestly, we're going to get into it earlier than the book wants because it's not made immediately clear. And that's kind of confusing.
Well, are you going to recap the first book a little bit? Just
I
smidge?
am. Before
Okay.
we begin, I have a recap.
Wonderful.
Obviously, I highly recommend you listen to episode 12 of our podcast where we covered the first book in this series. But as a quick refresher, Jack 1 includes Susie, who is a horny loner witch who is looking for love. Jack, an orange buff man-bodied pumpkin-headed demon that Susie summoned herself and then was surprised to see. Like she couldn't believe her own magic worked, even though she's definitely a witch. Susie and Jack have a very big, sexy time. Susie accidentally partially summoned Jack 2 years prior. So for the past 2 years, he's been able to watch her and like be around spiritually, but not physically. So he's already just all about Susie. During their big sexy time or their BST, we learned that Jack has a ridged, vibrating peen, that it has a big old cone tip, but with a flat top, and that he also has a crazy big tongue, and of course, pumpkin spice latte flavored cum.
Mm-hmm.
Jack also makes a special anal lube just for Susie that is flecked with gold and I think also scented. Susie wants Jack to stay forever, so in order to do that, Jack has to breed her, and it works in our epilogue. Well, before the epilogue, I think they're like, if I'm gonna breed you right now, and if I'm here in the morning, then it worked, and if I'm not here in the morning, you can just summon me again, and I'll come right back. But he's there in the
Yeah.
morning, so it works. In our epilogue. Susie milks Jack for his pumpkin spice latte jizz and sells it as organic pumpkin spice latte. Sarah, is there anything you could think of that I forgot?
Wait, did you mention the 4 balls?
Oh, he has 4 balls. I'm so sorry if I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
mention
no, no.
that.
And that he could pick and choose. I think this was the one where he could pick and choose when he inseminated her and when he didn't.
Correct.
Yes.
A fun fact is that I accidentally read the first one, not realizing that the first one that the book I had wasn't just the second one. So
Well,
I'm
okay, well,
very
now I'm
fresh
curious.
I'm
Hold
very
on.
fresh. Oh yes.
So what are your thoughts
This
now
has
that you
never
have
happened
firsthand
before.
read
I read a book that we covered. It's the first time I've
after
ever
the
done it.
fact?
It was delightful. It was very helpful for preparing me for this next one.
Okay,
Loved
well,
it. But you are correct. Jack can control whether he has like potent sperm come out or just pumpkin fun with no seeds.
yeah, it's if we had that kind of healthcare in America, okay, I'm not gonna actually stop right there because this isn't a political podcast. I'm gonna stop because
But I want to know how it pertains to pumpkin insemination.
we are 2 weeks away from an election. If you live in the United States, please go vote, go register to vote, go
Do it.
sign up. Yes. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so that's where we left off in the first Jack. Susie and Jack live, laugh, loving together, selling organic pumpkin spice latte jizz. But what happened after that? Well, I'll tell you. We open on a Halloween night.
Of course.
We're in a
Because
nightclub.
they don't do anything else during the rest of the year, is what I
Well,
assume.
y-
Other than sell their organic jizz.
Jacks are the most powerful during Halloween. I believe it is established. So
Mhm.
it kind of has to be Halloween.
Okay, fine.
But it's not just any Halloween because we are at a nightclub and Ava, who is our main character, is meeting her already drunk friend Monica for the pumpkin night. Whatever that's supposed to be.
That's the worst themed night at a bar I've ever heard.
It's called the pumpkin night. Quote, Monica, who is her friend, proudly displayed a tall glass filled with a thick orange drink. It probably had a stupid name like Cosmo Pumpkitan or Jacko Whiskey.
Do we think it had the organic flavoring that her mom milks her dad for? I guess I'm assuming Ava. No, it's not Ava. That's the Jack. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying.
I feel like it should be in the well, I guess Cosmo Pump Catan, which is that's a real mouthful.
No.
That would like indicate having pumpkin, but Jacko whiskey's got the name in it, and it feels like for branding purposes, like you would have to.
Yeah,
Who
I
could
get
say?
it. I just think it would be a whole, full circle moment.
A whole full circle moment. But we are not just here for Halloween drinks. We are here so that Ava can get her mojo back. And we don't have a lot of details, but Ava lets us know that it's been a year, quote, since something happened to her on Halloween.
Mm.
And that Halloween is her absolute favorite season. And she is determined not to let Jack, whoever that is, because we don't know yet, ruin it. Sarah, pretend we're at the
I'm so
pumpkin.
sorry. No.
Pretend we are at the pumpkin night. What are you wearing to the
Oh,
pumpkin night?
wait, okay. Wait, are we talking like me now or me when I actually drank alcohol and like went like to bars?
Whichever outfit you want to reveal. I have one as well.
I have been walking down memory lane this week with some of my college students because college has changed a lot since I was there 10 years ago.
So true.
And I want to go back to circa 2014. We're going to go out. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to
Amazing.
I'm going to have some ankle booties, black booties, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to have probably some tight skinny jeans.
Yep.
Or some like black like dressy leggings.
Okay.
Maybe they have a patch of faux leather or whatever, right?
Love a
I'm
full leather leg.
I'm gonna
So does
wear
Ruthie.
so does Ruthie. And I'm gonna wear probably a going out shirt because we all know what I'm talking about when I say a going out shirt.
Yeah,
It might be sheer.
You purchased it at Express, and it was button up but flowy.
Well, yes, absolutely.
And I know because I worked there and I sold them.
Or I'm gonna wear like a super tight like bodysuit that is gonna be a pain in my ass and it's gonna make me not want to go to the bathroom, right? Because I'm
Yeah,
not gonna want to have to snap it back up.
absolutely. Set yourself up for success all night long.
And probably a leather jacket
Nice.
or like a jacket of some like a bomber jacket, something like a jacket of some sort that I'm
Mhm.
probably not gonna wear all night because it's gonna be so hot in the bars.
Infinity scarf, no infinity scarf. Sometimes
No,
you need
this is
to, sometimes you don't.
we're past the infinity scarf era by about 2 years, probably.
It's because I'm
You're a little
well,
older than me.
I'm a little older than you, but I was still in college. Well,
Yeah.
for a little bit. Anyway, it's not important. I
But
like
you
your
know what I'm
shirt.
talking about. Like,
Yeah, I know
I
exactly what
wasn't a
you're
big scarf person. I'm not big on the, like, things around my neck,
I was
but
a big
other than
scarf person.
hands. But, um, other than the hand scarf, I just think that I will also have, like, winged liner that's gonna look
Mhm.
really bad, a bold lip, and
Mhm.
my hair is going to be such tight curls because I didn't brush them out at that time in my life.
Outstanding. This is a
Okay,
very
what are
good
you
fit.
wearing?
I'm going for a full Halloween costume, and my Halloween
Mm,
style is 95% goofy and like maybe 5% hot and just all handcrafted. So there are a couple of things that I've wanted to be for Halloween that I just haven't, like Rod from the movie Hot Rod, or perhaps a SpongeBob character of some kind, or maybe just generally dressing up as emo. And so one of those three is something I'm going with. I guess I'm not really sure for this specific the pumpkin night. It would depend on the weather because I'd want to be warm.
wait, is this a dress up thing?
This does have some costumes, but it's not explicitly
Okay.
said.
I just want you to know every outfit I did in college was like hot,
Yes.
like sexy Tinkerbell.
Hot Minnie
And
Mouse. I've been before.
yes. Okay. Anyway.
Anyway, so you are in very classic going out. Maybe some Halloween colors. Who could say? It's the pumpkin
Mhm.
night, and I may be wearing like a work like how do I explain this? I want to go for hot rod, so probably a mustache, a cape, and like a mechanic suit.
I would
And
love
we're
to see us out like this.
and we're at the pumpkin night. And we
Okay.
turn and we see Ava, and what is she doing? She went full sexy. So she's wearing a short white dress with long lacy sleeves, and her long black hair is down and it's loose. And she's explained that she's got sort of skeletal black and white face makeup because,
Okay.
quote, she was dressed as Llorona. Sarah, please hit me with
Oh,
that research.
I'm so glad you bring this up.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, so Llorona, right? That's how we say it.
That is how I typed it out phonetically in hopes that it would help me not mispronounce it. So,
Okay, because I went through such a rabbit hole of things that were saying it obviously in different ways and
mhm, mhm,
incorrectly.
Mhm.
Llorona is how I'm going to say it because that's how you said it, and I pray that this is correct.
I
Okay.
listened to a pronunciation and we're all just trying our best. So if I'm wrong, we're all sorry.
We are very sorry.
But
Okay.
especially me.
So I will also say that I tried to make this very brief because this is a folklore that is extremely extensive depending on where you're from and, how the story's been told or why the story is told. So, first of all, thank you to my sources, Wikipedia, because of course, and Stephen Winnick at the Library of Congress and Britannica, and a bunch of very, very small other websites that just affirmed what those three websites told me. Okay.
Yes.
So, Llorona is a story from Latin America Spanish folklore. Specifically, it's predominantly based in Southwest United States. She's also known as the Crying Woman, the Weeping Woman, and the Wailer. So, the earliest documentation of Llorona is from 1550 Mexico City, but some people believe that her mythology goes back to the Aztec mythology.
Ooh.
And I could sit here and tell you over and over, like, how many ways that she could be linked to different things. I'll
Mhm.
get into that in a second. But the mythology, this Aztec mythology talks about a hungry woman, which features a wailing woman constantly crying for food, which is like a little bit similar to Llorona's story.
It's honestly
She
a lot similar to me personally.
to Ruthie 24/7,
Very similar to my dogs.
your your dog all the time.
So similar.
And she's also been compared to like a Aztec goddess of motherhood. She's also been conflated with let me say this right. La Malinche, who was an enslaved indigenous woman in the 1500s who is known for being the translator and assisting the Spanish in their con wow, conquering of the Aztec Empire. So, like, it's one of those situations where, from what I was reading, it sounds like that woman was maybe misconstrued throughout history because she was. Some people felt like she was villainous because she helped the Spanish, but maybe she was also a slave to the Spanish and was there. So it feels a little almost like a Pocahontas situation where
Sure.
it was like, ooh, okay, but she wasn't there voluntarily. It doesn't seem like. Anyway, so some people think that like the story is linked to her in the 1500s. We could also compare her to like Greek mythology or Eve and Lilith from Hebrew mythology. Like literally, the
Mhm.
story could like branch out and be just different variations of the same
Sure.
thing. Okay, so the legend kind of varies based on who is telling the story and where that story is coming from. And the most general version of the story is that there was this beautiful woman named Maria who married a rich ranchero or conquistador, and she bears two children with him. Sometimes it's said
Mhm.
that it's three. It's also misconstrued whether they're all boys, whether they're all girls. So
Hmm.
that's up in the air. One day
Gender
she's
is a construct.
Gender is also a construct that it doesn't really fucking matter. Okay, so well, it does matter. You know what I'm saying? In the story, this story, it's not going to play a role. Okay. um, me trying really hard not to get canceled and for people to understand that this is an opening and welcoming environment. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So one day she sees her husband with another woman and goes
Oh,
into a fit of blind rage. And so she drowns her children in a river.
dang.
So, yeah, I probably should have trigger warned that, and I'm gonna let you know right now, it's not gonna get much better.
Okay.
So she immediately regrets it and drowns herself as well.
Mm.
However, she isn't able to move on to the afterlife, and she's forced to be in purgatory, roaming the earth until she finds her children. Okay, now there's another version of the story that says that her children were illegitimate, and she drowns them so her father cannot take them away to be raised by his new wife.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And another version claims that her husband favored the children more than her, so she killed them out of kind of rage and then like comes to and obviously is upset about her decision. She is always portrayed as a woman who is dressed in white, who is drenched, all wet,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
producing like this nocturnal wailing, and is always associated with bodies of water or some
Sure.
form of water. Okay. So her story is often told to help keep children away from bodies of water because there are so many rivers and stuff, especially in that area.
Mhm.
So but there's also this kind of storyline I was reading that she haunts foster homes or institutions for children looking for her children, but she always comes like 3 days after it rains. So like that's the water element there. And then
I see.
now you might be wondering, why is she even scary? I mean, like she's
I
a
mean,
woman.
visually,
Obvious
that's scary, and she did some scary
visually,
stuff.
yeah, but like what's the cause and effect if you see her? So sometimes she's a harbinger of death or bad events that will occur soon, and then other times she appears to men who are lost near bodies of water or children who are misbehaving near bodies of water. Again, I think this is one of those folklores. Whether or not it's true, who knows? It's more of like a, we need to keep our kids safe, so we tell them that, like, don't go messing around bodies of water because this woman will come after you. So that is kind of the condensed story of her, because
Amazing.
again, like I said, if you're just from different parts of Latin America, like there are just so many different variations of the story. So
Mhm.
take with it what you will.
Wonderful. That's
Yes.
amazing.
I didn't have a good pun for this one. I'm not good
Nope.
at puns
Look,
like you
sometimes it's
are.
really hard, and I don't know what I would have picked either, so don't worry
I
about
was
it.
gonna do like LaROMG.
My
Okay.
Llorona.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right, I am done. This is
Absolutely terrible.
what I was contributing for this episode.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Sarah. You're the best. So that is the background for Ava's costume. I will be honest now, it has nothing to do with anything else that happens in the rest of the book, but
Oh.
know that that is what her outfit is.
Well, if it makes you feel better, she like I said, white dress, drenched. I don't know if she just
Hmm.
kept pouring water on her all night. Like,
I'm gonna guess she was doing a like the ring kind of thing with her hair kind of in front of her face.
no, she's known to have like a skeletal face. So like
Yeah,
that's
and
kind of
she's
a
got
thing.
she's
Yeah.
got her face is painted
Yeah.
black and white.
Okay. Sorry. Keep
Amazing.
going.
Well, all of this to say, Ava is looking hot for the pumpkin night, and she is ready to hit the dance floor when all of a sudden she feels a hand on her waist that stops her as she's walking through. Now, unlike any normal human being,
It was me.
Ava is completely fine with this.
Oh,
A
okay.
and explains that she doesn't want to turn around to see who it is because of how she believes that like fleeting and intimate touches like that are best when you don't see who did
Oh,
it, which is not
okay.
anything I can relate to. And I was not sure where who could say.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
Yes,
Ava.
but she's like, ah, I better not turn around. I gotta just bask in this moment with this random stranger's hand on my waist. Unfortunately, the culprit who grabbed her waist says, La Llorona, right? So she kind of has to turn around and see who it
Okay.
is.
Oh, now I have to talk to another
Yeah.
person.
And so Ava does turn around and she's like, oh, fuck, because the voice in the hand belonged to her ex boyfriend, Jack.
Oh,
Hmm.
Jack.
Very human looking ex boyfriend, Jack.
Very human
Looking
looking.
ex-boyfriend, Jack.
Okay.
So I'm gonna fill in some details that we don't really get to till later because if you've not read the first one, then this is confusing without context. And also it just kind of doesn't explain this until later in the book. So I just thought it was confusing, but this is not the first Jack. Sarah is correct, we mentioned earlier. We will find out later in a not even really a big reveal kind of way, but not until the end of the book, that this is the son of Susie and Jack from the first book.
Junior.
Junior. They don't call him Jack Jr. Eventually, because it becomes relevant, I might have to start calling him young Jack, but that's like not till the very end. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, does this mean we're going to get a cameo from mom and dad?
You'll just have to find
Oh,
out, won't you?
okay. All right. I'll wait.
Anyway, we do not know what went down between Ava and Jack, but she's not very happy to see him. Even though his quote panty melting charm and vibrant presence is delightful, she's having to remind herself, like, remember what he did, remember who he is, remember what he is, and we
Oh,
don't know what that means yet.
okay.
So, what does this Jack look like on the pumpkin night? He just looks like a normal human, just completely normal dude.
He's not wearing any costume.
Ava gives him shit for not dressing up, but he's like, guess again, because technically being a human is a costume for me.
Oh,
Do
because
you
he's
see?
like a demon,
Because
probably.
he's something that we're
He,
gonna find out. Um,
he's part something, that's for sure.
yeah, so Jack is being kind of flirty and Ava's being like a little bit mad. And she's like, your costume's not even funny and nobody but me gets it. And he's like, well, awesome, because I only care about your opinion.
Roast him, Ava. Roast
Um,
him over the coals, please.
Ava says, quote, I stepped back, my chest filling with a cocktail of twister emotions. And I just interjected, I hope that her emotions were a cocktail of Cosmo Pumpkinton, maybe. But who
Mm,
could know? My heart fluttered with a pulse, my insides twisted with unease, and under it all, a fire burned. I was so angry I could spit.
okay.
She
All
will.
right, Ava. Look, I'm a girl's girl through and through.
Mhm.
I already got the ick from Ava when she was like, "Yeah, I like when people touch me and I just don't look at them." Um, so I just I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what, Ava? I don't know if I'm for team you right now.
I'm just not sure if I relate. That's all. I'm just
No.
not sure if I can relate to how she felt. We get a little more detail about what happened between them. Jack tells Ava that he wants to talk to her because last year he bared himself to her and she just ran away and called him names and dumped him.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, no.
Yeah, which is it seems mean and sad. And then Jack says, "quote But do you know what rankles the most?" I don't know what that means.
Wrangles the
R no, oh, Rankles. Do you know what
rank
rankles the most?
rankles?
Who could say? Anyway,
Oh.
after we both calmed down, I apologized to you profusely. I knew I'd frightened you and I was genuinely sorry, but you hurt me, and yet not a word of regret passed your lips. Ooh.
Well, I'm kinda team Jack if I'm being really
That
honest right
sounds
now.
really bad.
If you're well, and again, we have yet to see what he confided in her,
We don't have the full context yet.
but I am sitting here like, if you really cared about a person, you wouldn't call 'em names and run away. Anyway, again, I don't know what
Yeah,
happened. We're gonna find out.
we're
Maybe
gonna
I'm
find
gonna eat
out.
my words.
So Ava is kind of like the audacity, and she's like, "Fuck you for saying that. You don't have the right to say that." In her head, she's like, "Jack is just being bossy and frustrating." And at the same time, a voice in the back of her head is like, "But you like being bossed around, though." And we
Oh,
get the briefest flashback to, uh, or like the briefest flash of Jack telling her to get on her knees, like in a
oh,
past memory. But
oh.
Ava shakes it off.
Oh, of course. Can't think about
She's
that right now.
She's like, quote, "In my dreams, I can revisit and confront this, but right now I cannot and I don't want to. Like,
Fair.
I need to figure this out." She's like, "You lied to me. You deceived me from the moment we met." And then she says, "All that time you pretended to be human, but you're not. Let me go."
Mm,
Interesting.
m'kay.
So, Ava's kind of trying to get away from Jack and then kind of like sort of still not because they're still at the pumpkin night on this dance floor.
She can't leave.
Yeah. Well, Jack says he wants to show her something. So naturally, they join
Scary.
hands and then
Join
seemingly
hands.
teleport out of the club and
No.
into a spinning dark void that
I'm sorry they teleport. You're really saying they teleported.
they Ava doesn't know what's going on, but it gets real spinny and real dizzy and queasy, and it's like not the club, and then we end up somewhere else, and they just kind of like land. And Ava's got her eyes closed because she's been so nauseous, and there's been a lot of spinning, and they're just like standing there touching hands, and she just sort
Oh.
of refuses to open her eyes or initially acknowledge Jack at all.
Imagine leaving your friend back at the club like that, though.
Yeah, I don't think
So sorry, Monica,
we will never hear from Monica again.
unless she's in a future
No,
book.
we will at least in the rest of this book not be hearing from Monica again.
Sorry,
But it seems like
Monica.
she was having a lot of Jacko whiskeys or whatever and probably having a great time. So I bet
Okay.
she's fine. Um Great. So yeah, Ava's got her eyes closed because they just teleported and she's freaked out and she's also nauseous and she also doesn't want to look at Jack. And Jack lets her know that he's quote sent off the servants so that she could freak out. So that she like
Servants
well
don't
it's what
love
he says.
that.
What he says. So she's like, okay, I can open my eyes because we're alone, so I can freak out now because there's
Okay.
no servants? Question mark. Who could say? When she does open her eyes, she is seeing the real Jack, not human costume Jack. He's got pumpkin head. He's
Mm.
got lots of fire all over the place. He is very orange. His teeth are sharp. Quote, "The combination of pumpkin and man was absolutely ludicrous, and I choked out a laugh through my constricted throat. I didn't even know when he had lost his shirt," which presumably on all the
No.
spinning and teleporting, I guess.
It comes off every time. He has to buy new shirts all the time.
Maybe he grows several sizes bigger when he's not
Haynes
human and it just
loves him.
rips.
Number one customer. Anyway.
Mhm. Amazing. Ava also notices that Jack smells like candle and spices and warm skin, which is great. So we can pretty well assume that if there's any sort of magical component to Jack, which there must be because teleporting. She has not known about that.
Okay.
Jack magics a chair over to her and she like a little bit freaks out. And he explains that he brought her to this space to talk to her because she's been avoiding him for a year and blocking his calls.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Well, it's been a year, Jack.
he says, quote, I wanted to see you. He interrupted, a cold note creeping in his voice. You blocked my number. When I tried to contact you in other ways, you cursed and insulted me. And I found out to be kind of stalkery, but it's fine. It's clear Ava
Yeah.
didn't want to know Jack was a pumpkin man. She wasn't aware of any of his actual true self when they were dating. And it seems maybe she wasn't like super chill about it when he showed it to her. She's like, I've been off the grid because you're a scary pumpkin. And Jack tells,
Yeah.
which I think is fair, but Jack tells her you shouldn't have left because of fear.
Well, then what should I left have? Like, what? What?
Well,
You shouldn't have left because of fear.
we'll get back to it later. Just
Okay.
store that in your brain bank.
Okay.
Ava is aback by this and is like thinking, and then she sort of takes a moment to look around the room and collects herself and suddenly notices where she is. And you could never have guessed this, so I'm not even gonna make you. She's standing in like a beautiful Beauty and the Beast ass style library. Like a huge library.
You know what? Now I'm reconsidering how I feel about Jack at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, do you own this property? How have you paid off the mortgage? Are we gonna live here?
You'll learn.
Okay.
Quote, this was an enormous, I'm going to describe it because everybody loves books.
Mhm.
Everybody loves libraries because that's where you get them. This was an enormous personal library, something that belonged in another era, another country, another world. I pressed my hand to my lips and gasped, disbelieving my eyes. Bookshelves made of dark wood ran the entire perimeter of the room. They climbed the walls, and when they reached the ceiling, they didn't stop. The bookshelves ran up the ceiling, and where they met in the middle, a heavy black metal chandelier sprung, hanging low over our heads. Bright orange fires burning around the black hoop, and there's like cozy reading nooks and so many books and pumpkins casually incorporated in all the designs.
Nice.
Like in the patterns on the couches for reading, maybe. It's got everything you want. And eventually she's like, whoa, what a dream. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm here by force and not by choice. And my ex, who I don't like, has brought me here, so I need to come back to reality. And she was like, there would be no book picking, no lounging, no quiet afternoons with a cup of tea in this library. No matter what happens next in this journey.
I will not fuck this man for his library.
No.
Repeat after me. I will
not fuck this man for his library. Unless it's a really, really, really good library. Then maybe then I might have to do it. We'll
I'll do what I need to.
Do it for the books.
Do it for the plot.
Anyway, Ava is a little less scared now. Now she's curious because like this is a really big, crazy library. And Jack explains that it's his. And she asks if it gets stuffy because she doesn't see any visible windows and doors, which is a weird thing to ask. But
That's really weird.
It's to set up so that Jack can be like, yeah, I'll show you. So Jack has Ava pull a book off the wall, which moves part of a bookshelf to reveal these big, beautiful glass windows through which you can see like an incredible night sky, tons and tons of stars.
Waste. I'm sorry. The architecture here, no.
Like beautiful galaxy, like the perfect vision of the night sky in a place where there's no light pollution. And this changes everything.
Oh my God.
For Ava. Quote, I didn't know what this this burgeoning in my chest was. It was like a powerful longing, like grief and loss finally answered, like my soul was home. So she just sobs, and then Jack catches her and he's like, I know, right? They're really good. They're beautiful stars.
I know. That's the big winner.
And as Jack is comforting her in her head, Ava's like, I guess, honestly, I'm kind of already used to this pumpkin head, and her self-control just already starting to just dwindle.
Jesus Christ.
Just dive bomb.
All right. Fine.
Just dive bomb. So Jack moves Ava to a different part of this building, which we learn is his home. This is, I think, my favorite part of the book. I can't really explain why. It just really tickled me. Quote, I built this place, he said matter-of-factly.
I built this city. Hold on, sorry. I had to. Okay, keep going.
I named it Halloween Mansion, and it truly is. There's a candy bowl by the door, too. Sometimes some kids who are more attuned to the supernatural accidentally cross into this realm and call on my door. I put on the mask for them, which I think he means looks like a human. If they see me like this, they'll freak out, and then they might get lost between worlds. So
Okay, there are so many things to break down there. First being, I can't even remember.
I
After you
I
said the
named
candy
it.
bowl thing? Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you were me, you
Yeah.
disassociated it. I named it Halloween Mansion.
I'm really upset because Layla Fae, you have so much creativity in you, and yet we came up with Pumpkin Night and Halloween
I named
Mansion.
it Halloween Mansion.
It's the cousin to Halloween Town, okay?
Yeah, it's the
It's
biggest house in Halloween Town.
it is. It's the one, it's a creepy one up on the hill that the kids go get lost at.
It's where the
And
mayor of Halloween Town lives.
and then the fact that he's like, "Yeah, I have a bowl of candy for the kids." And then he's like, "But it's not weird because
But
I put on my
no,
mask."
it's for the kids because sometimes kids get
Get lost.
interdimensionally
They
lost.
get lost.
And they just happen on by, and I gotta look
Oh
like a
my
human, or
god,
they'll freak out and
no.
they'll just be gone between worlds.
Okay,
I love it.
anyway.
I love it. It's actually not really important to the plot at all. But this house is essentially in a different dimension where everything functions by magic. Which Ava's like, well, I probably can't leave then unless Jack lets me because everything is, controlled by magic. And she sort of pretends like she's disappointed. Like maybe she was going to think about leaving out the first door she saw, but we can all pretty much guess that that's not going to be the case. So Jack has built everything in Halloween Mansion with custom magic, every detail, like
Custom
very,
magic.
very full interior design. And it's giving Ava some new perspective. So she talks about realizing that. So she says, our 6-month relationship. So they had a
Oh,
long relationship and then it
yeah.
must have just ended on Halloween. Not once did she see the true Jack. She didn't know about this creative side of him.
Do we know how they met?
I don't remember. So
Dating
probably
apps.
not.
Okay,
Oh, maybe maybe it gets brought up. We'll
okay,
find out.
maybe.
We'll find out if it's in these notes. But yeah, she's like, maybe there's more to this pumpkin man than his big head and his orange body, his
Yeah.
pointy teeth. The entire time they're touring Halloween Mansion, Ava is trying to not be horny and also convince herself that she doesn't like the mansion, doesn't like Jack, and absolutely can't stay here forever. So
Oh,
like her internal monologue is, first of all, know that she's horned up like the whole
of
time and trying
course.
to ignore
No, of
it.
course.
And then is like, well, I'm definitely not gonna stay in this beautiful Halloween mansion made by magic with this buff man whose pumpkin head does not bother me anymore.
Mhm.
And it's funny to watch the decline of her
Her willpower? Yeah.
her willpower ups. Just it becomes absolutely harder and harder as he shows her more of Halloween Mansion. Now they've moved into a dream kitchen that he's built, and it's got wood counters and brass pots and herbs and spices and shit hanging all over the place, and it's perfect. And Ava's like, it's like you pulled this out of my dreams. And Jack, while he's in the kitchen with her, offers to make her a pumpkin spice latte, which we learn is her favorite thing in the whole wide
Oh
world.
my god, does he put his jizz in it?
We'll get around to it.
Jesus Christ.
And the fact that he remembers that it's her favorite makes her like a little bit sad. And Ava
Oh,
explains that she loves fall more than anything, and by that she means she loves tea and seasoned coffee and leaves and walking in the rain and mittens with the fingers cut off. Sure,
ditto? Question mark?
classic fall.
Okay.
And then we get this beautiful backstory from Ava, and her words are just better than mine. Quote, and then I met Jack, and even though he looked normal then, he seemed so taken with my Halloween quirks. Every time I bought an especially nice pumpkin at the market or wore a sweater with a pattern of pumpkins or that black lingerie set with the bright orange lace, yeah. But then I found out why he was so excited about all that, because he was a pumpkin-headed freak.
Oh my god. First of all, okay, so then I think to myself, okay, if they broke up a year ago
I
on
mean,
Halloween and they
yeah.
were dating for 6 months before then, they
Mhm.
would have met in the spring.
You're just
And
being
how
really
many
autumnal the whole time.
yeah, and are you just picking up pumpkins year round? I don't
Yeah.
understand how you're getting pumpkins year round. And
He gets so excited when she gets a particularly good pumpkin.
oh my god. Well, I would be excited if I got a particularly good pumpkin in the middle of spring and summer too. My
This is
god.
so out of
Okay.
season. Amazing. So all of this remembering of their Max backstory is causing Ava to just stew more and more about what happened and how they left things off. But she has to stop worrying because Jack points out to her that thoughts dark thoughts and worrying make the magic in Halloween Mansion go a little funny. And then Ava notices there's like a small cloud above her head that's formed from her brooding, and then lightning zaps her nose just a little bit.
Oh, well, that was kind of cute.
It's a
Okay.
little cute. Just it's a very Halloween Mansion is very magical.
Clearly.
Let's get back to the pumpkin spice latte. So, if you were with us for the first Jack book, I understand any feelings of concern that this brings to you. For now, do not worry because Jack says of this pumpkin spice latte, quote, all right, one pumpkin spice latte. Also, I want you to know the syrup I used is store-bought, produced and bottled in an ordinary human facility.
I'm so glad he was like, in case anybody was wondering, it is not my dad's jizz or my
But
jizz or anyone's jizz for that matter,
Ava
to
doesn't
my
have
knowledge.
that context.
I
She's kind of
know,
like, I mean,
which
what
is
else would you
so,
use?
but like that's so odd, and I love that she threw that in for the reader. She was like, just so
Well,
you know.
so he's like, this is regular human made, definitely normal pumpkin spice. And Ava is like, oh, I don't know what else you would use. And he was like, I hope to show you later.
Oh,
But
okay.
again, she doesn't have context for that.
No, okay.
Only we have context for that.
I know. Okay.
Apparently store-bought is fine because it's the best pumpkin spice latte of her life. And she takes a sip and she just melts. And she's like, the whipped cream is creamier and there's like a bite of dark coffee and it is a sweet and spicy aftertaste. And then she's like, why can't I just be happy?
Oh,
And I get it.
being moved to tears by
A
warm
pumpkin
drinks.
spice latte.
Yeah.
Realizing you can't even enjoy your favorite things.
Yeah.
Really devastating.
When your ex has literally ruined everything for you. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So this has just pushed it over the edge for Ava. She's like, clearly Jack was perfect for me. He lives in my dream home and he makes great coffee. And honestly, it's fine that his head is a pumpkin. So I like,
Hold on. Can I say something?
yeah, go ahead.
Again, I'm a girl's girl, but I'm really starting to hate Ava for so many reasons. And one of which is it's now feeling like she's a little bit of a gold digger. Like, she didn't accept him how he was. And now she wants him because he has this wonderful house. He has these wonderful pumpkin spice lattes. He's got the coziest of nooks and bowls of candy for little children. It's feeling unauthentic, Ava. Okay.
I don't remember if I kept this in my notes, but it is later revealed that the bowl of candy is a fountain of candy.
Oh my God.
I just
Okay.
feel like that needed to be said. Also, he
Thank
calls
you
it
for
a
the
bowl
clarification.
in the quote. He like initially he refers to it as a bowl of candy, and then later it is revealed to be a fountain of candy.
I want to know the mechanics of that, and I want to know what candy fits in the fountain aspects.
Well, do I have news for you? Obviously, it's magic.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
So
keep
yeah,
going.
we're spiraling. She's like, of course, like I totally messed up, and maybe I should have been with Jack the whole time. And also, I kind of want to kiss him now, but like, how do I kiss him? And she has the most rational thought of any human being, which is, how do you kiss a pumpkin with no lips?
Thank you.
She says it. She says,
Thank
I don't. She's like, I would
you.
like to kiss this pumpkin, but how do you kiss a pumpkin with no lips? And I was like, thank you.
I wonder if Layla had so much feedback after first Jack, and she was like,
I'm happy.
I think we need to address this. Okay.
So before she goes in for a kiss, she remembers that Jack told her earlier that leaving him because she was afraid wasn't the right reason. You may recall.
Yes, I do. Thank you for reminding me.
So right now, kind of without the prompt I just gave you, she turns to Jack and asks him, what was the right reason?
Oh, you're a little late.
I had to go back pages to find when he said this because it didn't immediately click for me because there was no additional setup. Like he mentioned it once. He was like, you didn't leave, being afraid wasn't the right reason. And then so much other stuff happens. And then just in this moment, she's like, so what was the right reason?
Oh my gosh.
And it turns out that a right reason would have been if she wasn't attracted to him.
Oh,
And that's it. He's just like, I don't know, like if you weren't attracted to me.
okay.
And there's no more reasons than that. And we know it seems like a non-issue because Ava continues to be horny for Jack and has essentially given up fighting it because the house is too beautiful. But we're about to hard pivot because Jack straight up calls her out for being horny. He's like, I know this isn't a problem right now. I can literally tell that you're trying to fight very natural impulses of being horny around me. And then he says, quote, "You have an almost uncontrollable impulse to straddle me. Take out my cock and impale yourself on it. Right now your pussy is soaking wet just from being near me. Your hands are shaking from how much you want to run them down my skin. Your mouth is cold and desperate for my kiss, and your tongue wants nothing more than to tangle itself with mine."
You know, the riz on this
It's a lot.
man is a lot.
And Ava's like, "Yeah, I have to admit, I sort of want him back."
Yeah, he isn't wrong.
Well, it's confusing because she's like, "I do want him back, but like kind of the way he was before with the added benefit of this mansion." And it's a little confusing and shallow because
Yeah,
she
it
has
is.
already said she doesn't mind his pumpkin head, and it already doesn't matter. Like immediately, it won't matter, so we can just move on from whether she wants him to be human or not.
Yeah, okay.
Remember, he's full pumpkin head man now. Jack kind of lays it out all for Ava and is like, "Look, I just want you to apologize for leaving
I
because
need you to do this one thing for me.
please apologize and for leaving because you were scared and hurting my feelings. And if you don't want to, then he'll take her back to the club and never see her again." And Ava is like, fuck you for putting me in this position, but it gets so sexy so fast that like none of that interaction even matters. She and Jack are already like against each other, and so Jack just kind of decides to lightly choke her, and she feels
Mm,
this boner and is excited, and he tells her to say monster if she wants him to stop. And
uh,
hold that in your head because it will be important.
I'm sure it will be.
Mhm. So Ava hardly has time to get too in her head about what she's doing because Jack has, quote, pressed the open seam of his mouth to her lips, and
Um,
she finds out that you can kiss a pumpkin. And she says he had a firm pumpkiny edge of his mouth catching on her lip, and it was warm. So,
okay.
so that's how you kiss a pumpkin.
Eh, I don't like it.
No, it's not
You
for
can give me the
everybody.
explanation. I still won't like it. That's
No,
fine.
basically, it's how you would imagine, but apparently warm.
Okay.
So now it's go time. We get the return. I don't know if this got mentioned when we covered it in the podcast the first time, but in both books, both Jacks are able to snap and instantly remove their partner's clothes. So Jack,
I don't know if
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
saying that
it
in the
happens in
podcast.
both.
Mhm.
So please ask for consent before you snap someone's clothes off. They don't in either book. You gotta ask first. But even in this preliminary sexiness, Ava admits that she's more turned on by Jack now than she ever was when they had hooked up in his
Oh,
human form. So we know they have not had sex in his true pumpkin form. They've only done it in some kind of human situation, and I assume all of his business was human looking at the time.
okay. So now we have unhuman looking
Yes, this
things.
is full pumpkin man, full pumpkin man.
Yep.
So he's got her on the counter and he's like taking her all in and calling her sugar a lot, which I didn't love, but that's just my personal thing.
Mhm.
Some people like that. And they're doing a lot of flat pumpkin kissing, and Jack instructs Abe to like kind of put on a show for him, which at first makes her cringe because she's not really into it. And so Jack reminds her, like, hey, if you don't want this, just say monster and we'll end it. And
Yeah.
so, like, what's going on with that? Well, we learn in a quick aside that Ava called Jack a monster when she first saw his true form. And in fact,
Ooh.
she kind of screamed it in
Ooh.
his face when she saw him, and it hurt his feelings.
This feels I don't know how to describe that. This feels not just ironic, but like deep levels of internal hatred
It's
to
not the
like
foundations I would build a relationship on necessarily
yeah,
if I had to
no.
choose, is
No,
what
for
I'll say.
sure, for sure, for sure.
So Ava feels bad about like she's of course puts that together every time he's bringing up monster. She's like, it's because I called him monster, and that was so awful, and I feel so bad. Especially now that I'm finding out he's a hot pumpkin man with a Halloween mansion. So she resolves internally not to say monster to him, at least until she apologizes for how she reacted, and then like maybe she can do it in a sexy way because for Ava, fucking is better than apologizing. And uh like saying sorry for being kind of a pumpkin racist. She's like, let's hook up first. I can apologize later. I will not say monster to this man and give up.
But maybe you should apologize now.
Well, instead of communicating about their traumatic falling out, Ava is going to make a show of touching herself, and Jack's going to get really into it, which Ava's going to really like. And in her head, she's like, did he get more buff after we broke up? Because, damn, this is crazy. And just in this part alone, she's already about to come, and she also decides that she wants to try and start apologizing.
While
And
she's coming?
and so as she starts to say, "I'm sorry," Jack muffles her mouth using magic and says, "Quote: You had your chance, sugar, but you didn't take it, and now we'll do this the hard way.
Oh my
Run, run, Ava," he says.
Oh, and there's a chase sequence, isn't
And
there?
so now I have this in all caps in my notes. Jack turns the mansion into a spooky, shadowy like realm and makes his face real scary and chases Ava around the house. And it's horrifying, and she's scared the whole time, and she's naked. And so like shadows are nipping her in the butt and burning her while she's running through a spooky shadow mansion.
Look, I'm all into like BDSM, but you should always do it consensually and never out of actual anger. So this is very conflicting. But I will say there was a chase sequence. I don't know if I articulated that in the first book, but there was a chase sequence between mom and dad too. So
It runs in the family.
yeah, literally runs in the family. Anyway.
It all runs in the family. So we're nude running down the spooky hallway, and Ava is running and running, and then finally she finds a room, and she like runs inside, and she locks it, and she's like relieved because now she's just in a room, and so she goes and is like, okay, well, dark in here, let's turn on the light. She feels around, and she flips up a light.
Okay.
And then the room fills up with ambient light, and it's revealed that Jack's not very far away. He's like there, which is
Mhm.
frightening. But he had the lights in his eyes and his mouth extinguished, so that's how she didn't
Oh,
notice him
yeah.
at first. But then they all light up, red and angry, and he's like grinning. He's like, ha ha ha, like you fell into my trap. And he says, "Welcome to my dungeon, sugar."
It feels like it lost its luster when he said sugar.
Welcome to my dungeon, sugar. I built it just for you.
Oh my gosh.
Sarah, if you had to guess what things are in this dungeon, I don't know. Throw out some guesses. What kind of stuff would you
Mm,
put in a dungeon you're
mm.
building for your ex girlfriend?
Well, I'm gonna put some pumpkin carving tools in there.
Important.
I'm gonna put oof. I'm still in like the fall mood, and
Mm.
the corn maze smut really did it for me. So maybe we're gonna put some like corn stalks to tie her
Yeah.
down. We're gonna put some pumpkin spice latte for the pumpkin spice sexuals in
This
there.
is Halloween Mansion.
Yeah. No, I'm guessing there's probably like some flogs.
Sure,
There's some
sure.
blindfolds, there's some dildos.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe
Mm-hmm.
a corn dildo, who knows? Um, if you have no idea what we're talking about, go listen to our last couple episodes. Okay, tell me what's in the room.
The hair on Ava's neck rises in horror and, quote, something else, which I think is supposed to indicate horniness, because the dungeon has a king size bed with black sheets and orange pillows. It's got a rack of whips. It's got a display of
Mhm.
handcuffs and robes. It's got a low bench that's upholstered in black leather, and then a much taller one that's in orange.
Well, and here's what the first thing I would do if I was Ava. I would walk up to those robes and I'd feel them out, and then I'd
Mhm.
say, can I take one with me, like, when I leave, though? Like, it like, will I
Girl,
be
girl,
charged? Will
girl.
my credit card be
Ropes.
charged?
ROPES ropes.
Oh, I thought you said robes.
You can take them with if you want, if you like them.
Oh, alright, well, that just lost my luster. Alright, keep going.
So once again, Jack's like, uh, tell me I'm a monster, blah blah blah, and then I'll stop. And
Okay.
she's like, oh, I see. You're punishing me. I get it. I
You
and she's like,
just now figured that out? I'm
yeah, she's like,
sorry.
I see that this is now a punishment. And she goes to start saying she's sorry again, only she doesn't get the full sorry out because Jack muffles her mouth again with the magic again and is like, I've only just begun.
Of course.
So he straps her to a leather bench and ties up her hands. And Ava's not really scared anymore. She's like, first of all, tying my hands is overkill. Like, I don't think that's necessary. It's funny because she's not like, ooh. You would think that since she gets generally what's happening now, it's like big sexy BDSM time that she would be kind of in for it. And she's like, I feel like we don't need to tie my hands.
Yeah.
Which is funny. So she thinks about saying monster, but then realizes that she's actually really into it now, so it's fine. And in her head, she's like, yeah, I really like being boss around. And apparently I was a glutton for punishment too.
I love this self-discovery journey for
I
you, Ava.
So do I. So Jack kind of now reveals his master plan for the night, which is, and if you read the first book or listened to the podcast, you will not be surprised. It's just doing anal. He's like, tonight's the night. I'm gonna shove my real cock inside you, and he says, by the time I'm done, you'll be corrupted. And after tonight, no human dick will satisfy you.
And she's
Evil.
probably like,
Pure
do
evil.
your worst.
Well, on the one hand, it was like, I might be down, but I'm definitely not presently ready for anal.
Yeah, that's a process
Yeah,
that you need
so
to work
but
up to.
it's okay because Jack says it's okay. They won't do it. They specifically won't do anal until she begs for it. To which Ava is like,
Mm.
"You are crazy if you think I will beg you. I won't beg you in a million years." And I'm sure that her will stay ironclad for the rest of this encounter.
Yeah, no, foreshadowing. I can't
Mhm,
imagine that she will
mhm,
ever let her guard down.
mhm. So to get things started, Jack uses liquid feeling magic to arouse all of Ava's body,
Sorry,
and
can you say that one more
yeah,
time?
I said liquid feeling magic. It feels like liquid, but
So it's invisible lubricant?
I mean, if there's nothing actually on there,
That's what I'm saying. It's
it's
invisible,
magic. I don't know how to explain magic to you,
but
Sarah.
it's liquid though. I'm so
No, it's liquid feeling. If you
yeah,
had
that's
to
what I'm saying.
describe the sensation,
I think you and I are talking about the same exact shit.
hear me
You're
out.
just
Hear me out. No, I think we are too. It's just there's not a physical thing there. So you know that thing that people do where they pretend to crack an egg on your head and it gives
yes.
you chills? Maybe it's like that, but everywhere, and also magic.
Okay, but is it a lubricant? Is it trying to be a
No,
lubricant?
no. This is just sort of generally arousing and relaxing. This is
Okay.
not special lubricant. Sorry,
Okay.
I should have clarified. Um, so Jack puts Ava in magical stirrups and then starts his weird liquid feeling magic again. And it relaxes
Mhm.
her whole body. Even she says like tense muscles from her day to day, which I would also like this magic because that sounds
How
great.
much do I have to pay for that?
I'm hunched over all the time, and if you've got some liquid feeling magic that can make that feel better, I would love it.
Do you take health insurance?
Is insurance even really needed for this?
Yeah.
Probably not. Um, Jack then gives what I can only really describe as like a villain monologue, but make it sexy. He's got her
Mhm.
tied up and he's like, "You've been a bad girl, but it was my mistake. I should have shown you my true cock first, because you wouldn't have run away from that. You would have stayed, and then you would have like messed around with my stuff, and it would have sealed the deal." And he says, "Because I taste good sugar. I taste like your favorite thing in the whole wide world."
Pumpkin spice.
So he teases her body more and is like, uh, "Tell me." And she's like, "Tell you what?" And he's like, "What's your favorite taste?" And so she finally lets out like a pumpkin spice, and he calls her a good girl, which is great. And then
Okay.
she immediately comes, and I think this is just from like the liquid magic.
Yeah, liquid magic.
Mhm.
Mhm.
She comes a bunch and it's magical. It's like literally magical because he's been using pumpkin magic to stimulate her body. She says it's the best orgasm she's ever had, and they haven't even had sex yet. To which I said, well, many people don't orgasm on penetration alone, so I think that makes a lot of sense.
Amen.
Amen. And Jack is like, want to know what my favorite taste is? You want to guess what his favorite taste is?
Her?
Yeah, he eats her out.
Yeah, I figured.
And you may recall from the first Jack that the first Jack's tongue is long and crazy, and this
Yeah.
Jack's tongue is also long and
So
crazy.
he got all
And
of his dad's genes is what we
yeah,
know. Okay.
he is basically identical to his dad in a way where if you didn't know that his dad had bred with Susie in the first book, could lead you to believe that this was the exact same Jack. It's not.
That's kind of disappointing, if I can say
No.
so.
He has the ability to look human, but like in his true pumpkin form, he's exactly like his dad. And I guess
Oh, give us something a little different. Have him inherit something from his great grandfather on that side that like didn't the traits didn't pass down until his generation or
maybe he's
something.
like a lighter color orange.
I don't know. I
Or
don't
one of those
know. I'm
white
not
pumpkins or something.
I'm really feeling disappointed right now. But
Well,
okay. All right. Keep going.
well, Ava's not disappointed because he sticks his tongue all up in her business and he's like, "You're my favorite taste. Gotta have it every day."
Yep. Yep.
And during this, Ava's like, "Oh my God." And he's like, "The name's Jack, but thanks." And that made me laugh.
Yeah. We love a good God comment.
Yes. So there's lots more oral and everyone's having a great time. But now Ava is worried that all of this is just, well, she's worried that it's all punishment from Jack, which it is, but like
Yeah.
more seriously. She's worried that he's going to slam her down big style and then abandon her as like revenge for running away in their relationship. She's gotten really in her head is like, oh no, we are going to hook up, but like then he's going to leave forever. And that's the actual punishment.
Oh, girl, it's almost like you did that to him.
Yeah, crazy. And so
Karma's a bitch.
she sort of mentions this to him and he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you whether I'm leaving or not. Let's just fuck like it's the last time and see what happens.
That's wild. The
We're just
gaslighting is insane. Okay.
yeah. Ava doesn't care though. She's like, okay, fine. I'm so horny. You can do whatever you want. And Jack is like, I want to do it in your beehole, and also I want you to beg. Remember, because that's
Yeah.
what I said. And so in her head, she's like, do I say monster and leave? No. Can I persuade Jack to not do this way? No. And so she gives in and she begs. Obviously, it's the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
answer.
of
Yeah.
course, of course.
So great. Jack starts to massage her, and it begins to smell like what? Cloves? Why is that? It's because Jack has brought out magic lube and is rubbing on her body. The last time
Oh
I
my
mentioned it had
god.
gold flecks and was made for Susie, I just assume it's different for Ava because it doesn't explain any of those things.
Okay,
But it
but wait,
smells
the
good.
exact same thing? Are
But
you
it smells
shitting me?
good.
No, okay,
Um,
now I have real beef.
it smells so good. So she keeps begging, and he keeps teasing her, and so now she's frustrated. She's like, I'm doing the begging, and I actually want to engage in this process, but now you're withholding it. Come on. And this goes back and forth for a while. And then they do finally end up having anal, and we are reminded that Jack's peen vibrates. And that it's
Wait, did the first one vibrate too?
yeah, when he spoke it vibrated, and
That's what I
yeah,
remember.
I think it's similar, but this is like
He could
yeah,
make it
I think he
vibrate.
just like make it vibrate.
Alright,
Mhm.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Looks wise though, I can only assume that all pumpkin-headed orange buff men have the same style of penis.
Wait, did they explain the penis though?
Yes,
Okay.
it is A, big, B, has several ridges, C,
Yes.
has a cone-like tip, and it fits
Yep.
super snug, flat on top, not pointy.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And
4 balls?
yes. Well,
Okay.
I think we get to it later, but yes, 4 balls.
Okay.
And then afterwards, it feels to Ava like, quote, the burn left over by a strong, spicy chai on my tongue is what it feels in her beehole. Please, I feel like I've said this multiple times already in this
Wait, is
podcast.
this in her vagina or her butt?
No, this is in her butthole.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is stop putting warming spices in any of your orifices.
Okay, but when he was born that way.
Well,
What
but he's using also
Oh, this
special
yeah,
spicy
no.
lube.
Okay. No, 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 you're right. You're
Knock
right.
it off.
You're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is yeah. That's anyway, but
Maybe he looked up how he was gonna deal with her pH levels and everything, and,
maybe
like,
it'll be
I guess
fine.
it's her butthole. I don't know.
Who could say?
Okay, never mind. Sorry, keep going.
But
We're getting too technical about
they
some
have a
things.
great time, and everybody comes, and Jack's like, let's do it again. And it was like, when? And he's like, now.
He's like, "Well, while I've got you here, we might as well."
Immediately again. The refractory period is 0. You can just go and go and go. But she's really taken aback by that. So yeah, he like there I included this quote specifically for this part. The bench slid lower, leveling with the floor, and Jack leaned on his forearms and planted both sides. Leaned on his forearms, planted on both sides of me. Sorry. We were in perfect vanilla missionary, except he was in my asshole, and his face was a flaming pumpkin.
I'm sure that's what the missionaries wanted.
Was exactly like
Was
vanilla
exactly
missionary,
what you're
except
talking about.
he was in my asshole, and his face was a flaming pumpkin.
Yes.
And then he says, "Let's make love." And so instead of it being a little more hardcore and erotic the first time, they're doing like a slower, lovier
Yeah.
anal this time. And he tells her like, "We can do this every day." He says, "Quote: In the morning you will wake up with my tongue on your clit, followed by my cock up your cunt. Then after lunch you will blow me for dessert, and in the evening I will make love to you, fucking your ass and telling you how beautiful you are," which is a very specific schedule.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, like, I mean, look, if anal's your thing, anal's your thing. But if I were to have a list and I'm ending my night with something, it's
Every
not gonna be
day.
anal.
Anal every day.
Every single day. Oh my
Which
god.
look, if that's your
No,
jam,
I'm
hell yeah,
so
brother.
happy for you if that's your thing, but again, it for me, myself, and I, if I was creating that laundry list and a timeline,
I just might need a couple breaks.
Or like that's not how I'd want to end my
No,
day.
it's a lot. It's a lot. So it was like every day, and Jack's like, yeah, because we got to make up for a year apart, and also we got to fuck twice for every time I jacked myself off. No pun intended. I am adding. I'm
Yes.
thinking about you. So she's like, all right. And again, this entire conversation is happening while they're having intercourse, and so just to clarify, it was like, so this will not be the last time that we have sex, right? And Jack's like, duh, of course not.
Yeah, I was just gaslighting you
Yeah, I was like,
earlier.
I'm never letting you go again. And she's like, okay, well, in that case, can I apologize to you so that we can clean up the mess of our past and start strong together? And Jack's like, you can make up for it, but right now you gotta get on your knees.
Yep. Knew that
um,
was coming. He
sex,
hasn't finished
yeah,
yet, right?
he has. I think he finished during anal the first
Anal
time,
first time. Okay.
if I recall. Their sex continues, and Ava comes for I think what ends up being a third time. The first time I think is when she's just putting on her own little show. No, the first
No,
time
she
is
didn't
with
finish the
magic.
first time.
First
Yeah.
time is magic. Second time is anal. Third time is this anal.
Okay.
Okay, it's three.
Happy for her.
Just yeah, and but this time it's like a actual out of body experience orgasm, and like time slows and it's all crazy and it's like the best ever, and then they're snuggling and they're having a great time, and the doorbell rings because some kids show up because kids can get
Oh, you jerk.
interdimensionally lost and stumble
Shut the
upon
fuck up.
Halloween Mansion. Look,
I'm
that's what happens. And dang, what can you
Are
do?
these kids
So
like dying or
they should do.
are they just like time traveling a little
I
bit or
think
like
it's just
what?
maybe that the realms are so like the veil between realms is so thin on
Oh
Halloween
my
that
god.
specially attuned kins can happen upon Halloween Mansion on Halloween.
Okay. All right.
So Jax goes and gets up and looks human and then gives them candy from his candy fountain per usual. And he comes back and he's like, I swear, this one goth girl who brought them knows exactly what this place is. Every year she brings more friends and they had huge paper bags and filled them to the brim. Cheeky kids. And he was like, anyway, I put the candy bowl, which again, between you and me, Sarah, is a fountain.
Yeah. No, I've picked up
Um,
on that.
so he's like, if more kids come, they can just help themselves to candy. And so great. Ava looks at Jack in his human form again. And she's like, nah, this no longer does it for me. Bring back the pumpkin. I want real Jack.
Oh, for a second I thought it was the reverse. So I was like,
Oh,
you just told this
that
man.
would be so
That would be
wild.
so fucked
No,
up. Okay,
no,
sorry.
she's had a full. I mean, it didn't take a lot to change
She's
her
like,
heart
go
anyway,
back.
but she's all about real pumpkin Jack. And finally, she apologizes for calling him a monster last year,
Mhm.
and her apology is accepted. And Jack very jokingly is like, "You still gotta pay by getting on your knees," but he's being playful and he forgives her. And then he's like, "Oh, I haven't shown you the garden. Why not?"
Yeah.
So he takes her to the garden,
He
which
was like, that
has
was my last resort to
he was
get
like,
you
"Oh,
horny.
yeah, yeah, if the library, beautiful kitchen, and view of stars didn't win you over, I thought maybe the garden
Yeah.
could do it." So there's like stained glass and beautiful flowers and a hedge maze, and what's in the middle of that maze? A big pumpkin-shaped jacuzzi that smells like spices.
Is this The Bachelor?
I look,
We love a
you could
jacuzzi.
film a great dating show here. This one is not made out of like a metal tub.
Okay. All right.
This one is
Well,
shaped like a pumpkin.
is it a pumpkin though? Like, is it
I
actually a pumpkin?
yeah, I don't know that it's actually a pumpkin, but I do
But it's just
believe
shaped.
it is like if you cut a pumpkin in half
Yes,
and
I
took the
get what you're
top off
saying.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like that. I'm not sure.
That
Anyway,
shape,
it's
yeah.
it smells like spices and it's very casually pumpkin themed, like everything else in the whole mansion. And it was like, I love it here. And Jack's like, then stay. And he seems a little bit sad. So she's like, what's wrong? And Jack explains that he still doesn't really know where they stand and he wants her to stay. And she tells her, like, don't worry, I'm all in. I never stopped loving you. I was afraid and a coward before, but now I'm not scared and I want to be with you. And she's like, quote, you're my pumpkin spice latte, my favorite thing in the world. And so
Oh,
she's like, yeah,
okay.
it's settled. You're going to stay. So it was like, great. What about my job? Which has never been mentioned before.
Okay. Do we know what she does?
No. And Jack's like, you don't need one. I can provide for you. But if you want one, I can do earth portals and you can have a job because
Easy. That's
we're
how
in a.
this well, that's the problem is he keeps meeting these women making earth portals, and that's how the kids are coming through because they find the leftover or
It's
earth portals.
probably your sexy earth portals. You got to
Yeah.
stop. Um, but anyway, it's all great. It's all sorted. So Jack is finally ready to really let Ava apologize so they can start with clean slate, and he's like, it's time for you to say sorry, but like the real sorry. And he's uh, caressing her cheeks, and also like, he's got like his liquid magic on her nipples.
Oh.
Got to do that clean slate. And Ava's like, great. Can I have something to drink? And he's like, yep, time to earn it. And this
Oh
makes
no.
her horny again. Why? Because she's got to suck his dick for the drink,
Yep.
which is the pumpkin spice latte jizz. So they go to a nearby greenhouse that is Victorian in style because, according to Jack, quote, I'm told women secretly dream about being railed in a Victorian greenhouse, so here it is.
Which, you know what? That's the most honest thing this man has said this whole entire book.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're in the beautiful Victorian greenhouse we've all dreamed of fucking in.
Oh my
And
God.
Jack instructs Ava, quote, suck my cock, my sweet Halloween slut.
I thought she was Sugar. You can't go changing
Well, for the
these
apology,
names.
she's a sweet Halloween slut.
Okay. All right.
Obviously his jizz is pumpkin spice, and it's,
Yeah.
sweet and spicy and gingery, and it's like cloves, and she absolutely loves it. Ava says that she says, quote, it was as it should be. Come, that was a treat. Turning a blowjob into an act of absolute indulgence. And here I was going to ask if you remember anything specific about Jack's balls, because this is where we found out he has 4.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Mama Jack says something similar with Daddy Jack,
Like, that's a
about
lot
like
of balls.
it's like if blowjobs were this great, women would have no problem. Like,
This is pro blowjob
or maybe
propaganda.
I made that comment. Who knows? I just remember that being discussed.
But he's like, yeah, I got 4 balls, the better to feed you with, which I've been told scientifically is not how that works anyway.
Yeah, no.
Not related to number of balls.
No,
Not
but
related to balls.
he's got to carry it all somewhere.
Yeah, but he's got 4 of them. So she gives him head to completion, and everyone's so happy. And she's like, "Do you forgive me?" And he's like, "I forgave you when I showed you my real face today, and you didn't run this time." Yay! He'd already forgiven her the whole time, and then he chased her around the house and was scary.
Where was she supposed to go? You brought her to a weird ass mansion. Where is she supposed to go?
This book reminded me of a Halloween Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely what it is. Yeah, no, it is.
So yeah, Ava decides to stay. And I thought we'd already done that, but she's like, I am really ready to stay, and also I'm really thirsty. And so Jack explains that now that she's a mistress of Halloween Mansion, which I felt escalated very quickly. She can actually just summon stuff.
Is that every woman he has sex with in Halloween Mansion? Because we don't know this man's sexual history. I
don't know how many partners have been to Halloween Mansion, but she is a mistress of Halloween Mansion.
Okay.
So at first she's like, I think this is funny because I've never had pumpkin juice, but I've had this very similar experience, which is that in her head, Ava is like, I'm going to summon pumpkin juice because it sounds like it could be good, and I've heard about it before, and I want to see if it's good. And she summoned some, but it's gross. So she's like, ew, terrible. And he's like, yeah, I don't know why you picked that. So they switch to champagne, and they toast to a new beginning of their relationship, and then they live, quote, pumpkin-y ever after. Epilogue. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm so glad we get an epilogue.
There's always an epilogue.
There's not always an epilogue. We know this. Hope, don't say shit like that.
There's always an epilogue in Jack-related literature,
as
far as I'm aware.
Yeah, we did get an epilogue last time too.
Got an epilogue. So in this epilogue, Ava is having pumpkin spice tea. With who? Well, I'm happy to tell you, with Susie, Jack's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so Susie and now old Jack are revealed to be young Jack's parents. Surprise.
Yep.
No,
it wasn't a surprise. I'm so sorry.
It was a surprise, but also I feel like it needed to be explicitly brought up earlier so that I didn't think Ava was having sex with the first Jack the whole time.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair though too.
Anyway, Susie and Ava and also young Jack is there. They're having a lovely cup of tea, and Susie is asking if Ava and young Jack want to, quote, join the family business, which, as you may remember, is milking older Jack for his jizz and selling it as organic pumpkin spice latte. And they're talking about, like, she's like, the family business where I milk my husband for his jizz and then I sell it as organic pumpkin spice latte. And Ava is very shocked by this, and she knocks her tea over, and then she's like, this tea was really good because it tasted like pumpkin spice latte. Quote, I ran to the sink and hurled. Jack came over and held my hair, patting my back. It was mine. Sorry, I won't do it again if you don't like this. But I thought, well, you love sucking it straight from my cock, so what's the difference?
In
And
front of your mother? What?
and Ava straightens up, wipes her mouth, and says, "Thank God. I thought it was your dad's."
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
No one asked for this type of an epilogue.
I love this epilogue. So yeah, she spills her tea, remembers that she thought it was so good because it was like nice and spiced, and then she's like, "Oh no, I think this is Jack's dad's jizz," and then throws up. And Jack's like, "No, no, no, my jizz the whole time. It was
But
mine."
also, like, imagine plotting that with your mother.
I mean,
I'm going to jizz in her tea.
well, I don't know if she knew that was gonna happen, but
But then
I
how
can't
if
imagine.
they're both having tea? Hold on. No, no, no. Hope. Think about this. If they both are having tea together, and one of them is Jack's
Jizz.
Junior's
Mhm.
jizz,
Mhm.
does that mean Jack Senior put his jizz in the mom's tea?
Yeah,
But
I
that would
hope
have had to
so.
have been discussed.
Look, we
I'm
didn't get that
disturbed.
deep
I
in
think
the
they're terrible parents. I think I think this is really fucked up.
Susie is just like so unbothered by all of this, probably because her life's passion is doing this for Jack. And so after this, they tell her, like, we're not interested in helping you guys sell Jack's dad's jizz. And essentially, Jack is like, he doesn't say this directly, but basically what he's implying is like, Ava's a greedy cum guzzler who doesn't want to share. So we're not going to sell mine either. And we're not going to help you sell dad's. So bye, mom.
But
She's like,
that's so
he's like
fucked.
to his
No.
mom, my girlfriend really loves sucking my dick to completion and swallowing when she's done. So we can't sell mine because she's too greedy, and we don't want to sell dad's because that's weird. Goodbye, mom.
I want to have an open environment with my family, but not that open. And never that open, actually. Boy, okay.
So yeah, I guess they're not gonna join the family business. They make Susie leave so that they can bone, and young Jack offers Ava more tea with some special organic pumpkin spice latte. And she says she loves pumpkin spice latte, so he tells her to get on her knees so they can make organic syrup. And the book ends with "Have a delicious spicy Halloween." The end.
How lovely.
I
I felt like we really, I know you loved it. I'm very upset about it.
I feel like there's something to be said for plot similarity versus mechanical similarity, because like the actual story is different. It's about a different relationship where they were dating and she thought he was human, and then surprised he wasn't human, and like that part's different. It is just that the anatomy of this man is the exact same as his dad's.
Yeah, and I think for me, hold on. We'll go through our scorecard here in a second. Let's go through a scorecard because that'll cover some of this.
Yes.
But diversity, there's none. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, I mean,
no. Plot, I'm a little like there's no plot. Like well, I shouldn't say that. They're getting back together. I'm gonna give a plot a 3. Personally. So what do you think?
I'm going to give the plot a 3.5, and my 0.5 is based on the whimsy I feel about Halloween Mansion, which is a lot of whimsy.
Okay.
And it's not really plot related, but it's
That's
still
not
why I'm
plot
giving it a
related.
3.5.
But I'm just like, oh God. I'm just upset because it felt I at least like that this is like a second chance romance plot instead of like they're strangers meeting and he's obsessed with her like the first one. But I am upset that like so much of it had to do with the same things his dad did. Like they had a little chase sequence. I think there was an anal sequence.
Yeah, it's
I think
very specifically the end goal is anal.
Yeah, and I don't know, it just was like all so much the same. Anyway, Smut, I'll give it a 4 because that Smut's fairly good. Even though it's a copycat Smut, it's good.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 as well. It is like the majority of the book. It's like a very long and expansive scene. So
okay, I have pulled up the photo of the cover. This is maybe worse than the other one, I think.
I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you that I'm not sure they're super different.
That's what I was also. That's what I'm saying. Is I think This is a worse version of the first one.
I think that the core. Well, please describe it to our listeners.
Okay, so it's this super buff guy who definitely has like they distorted his body to look orange. And he's like in an orange haze. He's
Mhm.
in some graveyard. There's like a smoky background with like some tree branches and a moon and a graveyard. I don't know. And it says in like Goosebumps font, Jack, and then a slasher like 2 and other stories. And then at the bottom it says Halloween Monster Erotica box set. But I think maybe it is the same because it's the box set.
Yeah.
If it's all the stories in there, then that makes sense. Um you know, I again, who am I to say? Oh, and it also says Layla Fae. Oh, I didn't even describe the head. I'm so sorry. I'm not as good at
You'll
this.
never guess what his
You'll
head
never
was.
guess what his head is. It's a pumpkin, but the whole pumpkin is on fire. I don't know why they put the whole pumpkin on fire because to my understanding, it was just like there was a fire within the pumpkin that like burned, but not the whole pumpkin on fire. Whatever. I am disappointed. Give us a different cover. I'm giving this cover a 2. You are completely muted right now.
Oh, sorry, my dog was barking. I will give it a 2 as well. Interestingly, as I look, I pulled up the old one, like the first one and the
Yeah.
second one, and the pumpkin heads are slightly different.
Yeah, I think they are. I'm just like,
They
but
are.
they are not
They have
enough to be like a whole different. Like you would look at them and think that that's maybe the same one.
yeah. The first cover has like the eyes are downward pointing triangles, nose is an upward pointing triangle, and then he's got like several squared teeth in his mouth. And Jack 2 has like a completely different eye shape, still a
Yeah,
triangle nose, and he's only got like 2 teeth.
yeah. I don't like the 2 teeth. Give him a full mouth. He's got dental insurance.
And he has sharp pointy teeth.
Yeah, and that leaves us me at a 60%, you at a 63.3%. I appreciate you doing this book. I really do. I'm just disappointed, Layla. I think we could have done and I know I'm being hypercritical of a monster smut novella, but maybe it's just because we've been doing this for over a year now that I'm like I have expectations. um I want things if you really loved Jack the first one and you were like I just want that again, like yeah, this will be perfect, this is exactly what you want. But I think as somebody who was expecting a second generation to have maybe some differences, this kind of disappointed me a little bit. But again, Jack as a concept, as a lifestyle is iconic.
Jack as a toxic type that you date sometimes.
Yeah, but
Great.
4 balls,
All
pumpkin
four of
head,
them.
pumpkin spice latte jizz,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
milking family business. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
all of it's iconic. I think I just
Victorian greenhouse.
Victorian greenhouse. I will say that that may be one of my say smut moments
Yeah, what
because
is your say smut moment?
it was maybe the most relatable thing I think I've ever heard from an unrelatable book. But the fountain, the candy fountain, the fact that he has this, I was really pissed off with Ava. I'm sorry. She's a surface level bitch. I can't get over it. Because she didn't accept him the way he was. And now all of a sudden she's turned on after she sees his wealth and magic. Not fair.
Yeah, I like at best the implication is she briefly glanced at his pumpkin head, screamed that he was a monster, turned around and ran, and then just like didn't look back at him ever again because it took her no time to get used to his pumpkin head.
Yeah, it took her a year and he came after her for them to have this reconciliation.
Yes, I got to be honest. Jack could use a little more self-respect.
And also, if his dick is so big, I don't understand how they're doing anal like out the gate. I'm sorry, you need to like train your ass for that. I'm pretty
There
sure.
is, I think, and I'm getting books 1 and 2 conflated because I did end up reading both back to back. I believe there's some massaging to open things up and probably some magical components to the
I'm sure
lubrication
there's a
once the lube
magical
comes in.
component.
Plus, you'll remember her whole body was so relaxed from the liquid
So
feeling magic.
relaxed.
So relaxed.
Okay, what's your say smut moment?
My say smut moment is the epilogue, pretty much the whole epilogue.
No, the epilogue's
The,
ridiculous.
I yeah, I think that I sensed like a little bit before it was about to happen what was about to happen, but the whole premise, like, it's not even just that she had a pumpkin jizz put in her tea non-consensually, you should always ask first. I
Yeah.
can't believe I keep having to say this. But like the premise of Susie's over because she wants us to join the family business in one of two ways. One being help her with the selling of Jack's
Yeah.
dad's jizz, and the other being selling young Jack's jizz.
Yeah. No, that's
Which
not
is great.
happening.
But yeah,
That's a toxic relationship
there's
right there.
also a very fast turnaround from wait, this tastes good because it tastes like pumpkin spice. The jizz is pumpkin spice. Throwing up, and then Jack just being like, "It's mine," and she goes, "Oh, like, whoo, thank
I'd
goodness."
still be like, oh, no, like, I mean,
I guess when I throw up, I'm just out of commission for a longer
yeah,
period of time, and so good for Ava.
yeah. Do you have any other Say Smut moments?
No, that was it. I mean, it was all. I think if I had cold read the second one and not read the first one first as a primer, I would have been like say smutted all over the place at stuff
Yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah,
happening
yeah.
in the book. But because I read them back to back, the way that I did, it was
It's like
not
the
as
4
shocking.
balls, old news.
4 balls.
Yeah, no.
I've seen
Pumpkin
it a million
spice.
times.
Yeah, nothing new here.
Give me 8.
Well, thank you so much for reading a book this time
Hey,
around.
yeah,
This is so exciting.
technically too, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. You can find us, dear listener, if you so choose, on TikTok or Instagram at saysmutpodcast. We might do some giveaways for the holiday season. So go on there because you'll be able to get your updates on there. Additionally, we'd love to hear your book recommendations. Send those our way via email at saysmutpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And also pop us, now that we're at the end of the podcast, you can pop us a rating or review. Don't send us mean stuff just to send us mean stuff. Again, we want that enemies to lovers story arc. So if you hate us, give us another chance. Come back. Say hello. If you really hated us, just don't come back. That's okay.
Yeah, if you're mean, I'm gonna cry and it's gonna ruin my whole week. I'm never
Yeah.
gonna stop thinking about it.
Yeah, and a week is all of 7 days long, and that's a long time for her to be upset.
It's a lot.
But we hope you stay smutty and don't take back your ex. Don't do it.
And ask for consent before you snap off someone close, and also ask for consent before you put your pumpkin spice jizz in their tea. Even if you know that they generally like it, you should still always ask first.
Always ask for consent.
Always ask first.
All right, stay smutty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.